seen war when I was a child and the aftermath and what it does to people. So I had no illusions of what I was getting into.
When Dario Aveo realized he would be drafted into the Army, he decided to become the master of his own destiny.
My logic was, if you have to end up in combat, and there was a good chance of that, I'd rather be with volunteers that wanted to be there than people that may or may not be too convinced about what was being done.
Dario joined the Marines and left for Vietnam on January 26, 1968.
Landed in Da Nang, Vietnam, January 30th, 1968 at 5:30 in the afternoon. And there's a reason why I'm telling you all those precise times. Because an hour and a half later after I landed, the so-called Tet Offensive in 1968 began.
The Tet Offensive, a series of surprise attacks by the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese, was considered a military failure. But it was a political victory against the U.S. and its allies. Tet was Dario's abrupt welcome to the war.
One person was smoking a cigarette and threw the butt against the sandbags of a bunker. And our people on the line thought that was a ricochet of a tracer coming inbound, and the whole line opened up. Just everybody started firing because they thought we were being fired upon. That's how nervous we were that night. When I arrived to my unit, a day and a half later,
this is my staff sergeant.
The first sergeant that greeted me looked at me and he wanted to know from which infantry unit was I reporting. Because I guess I looked like a grunt. I looked like I'd been in the field. I looked a mess.
Vietnam wasn't like past wars.
Vietnam was an insurgent war. It was not force on force. It did have some force on force battles, but it was basically just a very tense environment because you had no idea who and from where an attack may come. And sadly, it could even come from children.
For Dario and the rest of his unit, the goal was to stay alive.
You don't fight for a cause when you're in the midst of it. You fight for immediate survival and that of your buddies. You become kind of resigned. You finally say to yourself, if I do worry, I am going to get killed. Because if I do worry, I do not react, I don't act. And if I don't do that at the wrong time, I could get maimed, hurt, or killed.
After a year of duty, Dario came home, but his departure from Vietnam was just as intense as his arrival.
I didn't relax in the aircraft until we were up about 10,000 feet. Like really above reach of ground fire and what have you. Then we flew to Okinawa and then 2 days processing and back home.
Like many military personnel serving in Vietnam, Dario didn't get a hero's welcome.
I felt a certain amount of disdain, being treated as if I was some sort of criminal, a sort of a stupid person for having served. And that was frustrating, a little bit.
Today, Dario speaks out for those currently serving in the armed forces.
Learn from the fact that a person that serves in the military puts their life on the line. Whether it's right or wrong, what they're being used for is a matter of politics, not the individual. To me, there is honor in the fact that they take that risk for you and me.